What if I told you that the spiritual crisis you're experiencing right now isn't a breakdown, but a breakthrough? What if that feeling of being completely lost, questioning everything you once believed, and wondering if you're losing your mind, is the most natural and necessary part of your soul's evolution? Right now, millions of people across the planet are experiencing a profound spiritual awakening. They're questioning reality, feeling disconnected from their old lives, and sensing that something much bigger is calling them. If you're one of them, you're not alone, you're not crazy, and most importantly, you're precisely where you need to be. Today, we will map out the 7 distinct stages of spiritual awakening so you can understand exactly where you are in this transformative journey and what's coming next. The Great Awakening of our time. Before diving into the specific stages, we need to understand something extraordinary happening on our planet right now. We're living through the largest spiritual awakening in human history. Never before have so many people simultaneously begun questioning the nature of reality, seeking deeper meaning, and experiencing profound shifts in consciousness. This isn't a coincidence. It's cosmic timing. Ancient prophecies from cultures worldwide spoke of this era as a time of great transition, when humanity would evolve beyond its current limitations and step into a new level of consciousness. The Mayans called it the end of one age and the beginning of another. The Hindus described it as transitioning from the Kali Yuga to the Satya Yuga. Indigenous traditions worldwide have long spoken of this time as the Great Turning. This awakening is unique because it's happening to people from all walks of life. Corporate executives, stay-at-home parents, teenagers, retirees, scientists, artists, and everyone in between. It's not limited to those who were raised in spiritual traditions or who have been seeking for years. It's touching ordinary people and completely transforming their understanding of existence. The awakening process follows a predictable pattern, moving through 7 stages that every awakening soul experiences. Understanding these stages is crucial because it helps you navigate what can often feel like a chaotic, overwhelming, and isolating journey. When you know where you are and what's coming next, you can move through the process with greater ease, trust, and purpose. Stage 1. The stirring. When your soul begins to wake up. The first stage of spiritual awakening often begins so subtly that you might not even recognize it's happening. It starts with a stirring, deep, inexplicable feeling that something is missing from your life. You might have everything that society tells you should make you happy: a good job, loving relationships, and material comfort. Yet you feel empty, restless, or profoundly dissatisfied. This stirring manifests differently for everyone. Some people describe it as a persistent feeling that they're living someone else's life. Others feel like sleepwalking through their days, going through the motions without real purpose or meaning. Many report a growing sense that there must be more to existence than what they can see and touch. The stirring often comes with an increase in existential questions. You might find yourself lying awake at night, wondering about the meaning of life, the nature of consciousness, or what happens after death. These aren't casual philosophical musings. They're urgent, pressing questions that demand answers. During this stage, you might also notice things that used to bring you joy or satisfaction no longer do. The career you once loved feels meaningless. The entertainment you used to enjoy seems shallow. The conversations you used to have with friends feel superficial. This isn't depression in the clinical sense. It's your soul outgrowing its current container. Many people in stage 1 try to fix these feelings by making external changes. They might switch jobs, end relationships, move to new cities, or buy new things, hoping to fill the void they're experiencing. While these changes might provide temporary relief, they don't address the deeper spiritual hunger driving the dissatisfaction. The stirring can last from months to years, gradually building in intensity until it becomes impossible to ignore. This stage prepares you for the more dramatic shifts that are coming by slowly loosening your attachment to your current identity and way of life. Stage 2, the catalyst, when everything falls apart. Stage 2 is often the most dramatic and challenging phase of spiritual awakening. This is when the universe catalyzes a significant life event that completely disrupts your usual way of being and forces you to question everything you thought you knew about yourself and reality. The catalyst can take many forms. It might be a health crisis that forces you to confront your mortality. It could be the loss of a loved one that shatters your understanding of life and death. It might be a relationship ending that destroys your sense of identity. It could be a career failure that undermines your self-worth. Sometimes, it's a combination of multiple challenging events that happen quickly. What makes these events catalysts rather than just difficult life experiences is their profound impact on your consciousness. They don't just change your circumstances. They change your fundamental understanding of yourself and how the world works. They strip away the illusions and false identities you've been living with, leaving you feeling raw, vulnerable, and completely disoriented. During this stage, many people experience what feels like a complete breakdown. You might feel like you're losing your mind, questioning your sanity, or wondering if you'll ever feel normal again. The structures and beliefs that once provided stability and meaning have crumbled, leaving you in a state of existential free fall. This breakdown is a breakthrough in disguise. The catalyst is your soul forcing you to let go of everything that isn't authentically you. It's burning away the false self so your true self can emerge. While this process is often painful and frightening, it's necessary for spiritual evolution. The key to navigating stage 2 is understanding that the destruction is purposeful. You're not falling apart. You're falling together in a new way. The old you is dying so that a more authentic, awakened version of yourself can be born. Stage 3, the seeking, desperately searching for answers. Once the initial shock of the catalyst begins to subside, you enter stage 3, the seeking phase. This is when you become desperate for answers, explanations, and tools to help you understand what's happening to you. You realize that your old ways of thinking and being are no longer sufficient, and you begin an intense search for new perspectives and wisdom. The seeking phase is characterized by an almost insatiable hunger for spiritual knowledge. You might read dozens of books on spirituality, consciousness, and personal development. You dive into ancient wisdom traditions, explore different religions, and study the teachings of spiritual masters worldwide. This stage often involves what many people call going down the rabbit hole. You discover concepts like manifestation, energy healing, chakras, past lives, and higher dimensions. You might explore practices like meditation, yoga, breathwork, or energy work. You attend workshops, join spiritual communities, and seek out teachers and mentors who can guide you on your journey. The seeking phase can be both exhilarating and overwhelming. On the one hand, you're discovering incredible new perspectives on reality that help explain your experiences and provide hope for transformation. On the other hand, there's so much information available that it can be challenging to know what to focus on or whom to trust. Many people in stage 3 become spiritual consumers, constantly seeking the next book, course, or teacher to give them the desired answers. There's often an underlying belief that if you find the correct information or technique, you can fix yourself and return to feeling normal. While the seeking phase is essential for expanding your awareness and introducing you to new possibilities, it can become a trap if you get stuck in perpetual learning without integration. The goal isn't to accumulate spiritual knowledge. It's to embody spiritual wisdom. Stage 4, the awakening, when everything clicks into place. Stage 4 is when the real magic begins to happen. After months or years of seeking, something clicks into place, and you begin to have direct experiences of expanded consciousness. This is when you move from learning about spirituality to experiencing it firsthand. Profound shifts in perception and awareness characterize the awakening phase. You might have experiences of unity consciousness, where the boundaries between yourself and the rest of existence dissolve. You could have visions, receive intuitive downloads, or experience synchronicities that confirm you're on the right path. Many people in Stage 4 report feeling like they're remembering something they've always known but had forgotten. There's often a sense of coming home to yourself, of finally understanding who you are beneath all the roles and identities you've been playing. This stage frequently brings psychic or intuitive abilities online. You might start having prophetic dreams, sensing other people's emotions, or receiving guidance from what feels like higher sources. You could begin to see auras, communicate with spirits, or have out-of-body experiences. A sense of euphoria and excitement often accompanies the awakening phase. You feel like you've discovered the secret to existence and want to share it with everyone around you. A missionary zeal usually comes with this stage. A desire to wake up everyone you know and help them see what you see. However, Stage 4 also brings its challenges. Your expanded awareness can make it difficult to relate to people still operating from conventional consciousness. You might feel isolated, misunderstood, or frustrated by others' inability to see what seems obvious. This stage is also where many people encounter spiritual bypassing, using spiritual concepts to avoid dealing with psychological or emotional issues. There can be a tendency to think you've transcended human concerns when you've just learned to intellectualize them differently. Stage 5, the dark night, when the light goes out. When you think you've figured it all out, Stage 5 arrives, the night of the soul. This is the most challenging and misunderstood phase of spiritual awakening. After the highs of Stage 4, you suddenly find yourself plunged into a period of profound darkness, doubt, and despair. The night can manifest in many ways. You might lose all sense of spiritual connection, feeling like the universe has abandoned you or that everything you experienced in Stage 4 was just your imagination. The practices that once brought you joy and insight might feel empty and meaningless. You could experience depression, anxiety, or a sense of complete spiritual desolation. Many people in Stage 5 feel they're going backward in their spiritual development. They might think they've failed, are not cut out for the spiritual path, or were deluding themselves about their progress. This stage can last weeks, months, or even years, and often feels like it will never end. The night serves several crucial purposes in your spiritual evolution. First, it removes any remaining ego attachments to spiritual experiences or identities if you've become attached to being spiritual or awakened. The night strips away these false identities to reveal what's truly authentic. Second, the night teaches you to find your center without external validation or spiritual highs. It forces you to develop a deeper, more stable connection to your true self without peak experiences or mystical states. Third, this stage develops genuine compassion and humility. When you've been through the night, you understand suffering in a way that creates deep empathy for struggling others. You lose any spiritual superiority and develop genuine humility about the awakening process. The key to navigating Stage 5 is understanding that the darkness is not a sign of failure. It's a sign of progress. You're not going backward, you're going deeper. The night is your soul's way of ensuring your awakening is authentic and sustainable rather than just a temporary high. Stage 6, the integration. Becoming who you are. Stage 6 is where the real work of spiritual awakening begins. Having survived the night, you enter a phase of integration where you embody the wisdom and insights you've gained throughout your journey. This is when you stop trying to be spiritual and start simply being yourself, your authentic, awakened self. The integration phase is characterized by a sense of groundedness and stability that was missing in earlier stages. You're no longer seeking peak experiences or trying to maintain constant spiritual highs. Instead, you're learning to live from a place of centered awareness amid ordinary life. During this stage, you develop what many traditions call embodied awakening. This means that your expanded consciousness isn't just something you access during meditation or spiritual practices. It becomes your natural way of being in the world. You learn to maintain awareness and presence while dealing with practical concerns like work, relationships, and daily responsibilities. Stage 6 often involves reclaiming and integrating aspects of yourself that you may have rejected or suppressed during earlier stages of awakening. You might discover that some things you thought you needed to transcend, like emotions, desires, or personality traits, are essential parts of your authentic self that must be honored and integrated rather than eliminated. This stage also typically involves developing healthy boundaries and discernment. Having learned from the challenges of earlier stages, you become more selective about the spiritual teachings you embrace, the communities you join, and the practices you engage in. You develop the ability to take what serves you and leave what doesn't without judgment. In the integration phase, you begin to live your awakening rather than just experiencing it. You start expressing your authentic self in your relationships, work, and creative endeavors. You might find yourself naturally drawn to service or sharing your gifts with the world. Stage 7, the embodiment, living as your awakened self. The final stage of spiritual awakening is the embodiment, which is living consistently from your awakened consciousness while remaining fully engaged with human life. This is when you've successfully integrated your spiritual insights into every aspect of your existence, creating a seamless blend of transcendent awareness and practical wisdom. In Stage 7, you no longer experience spirituality as separate from ordinary life. Your awakened consciousness becomes the foundation from which you approach all experiences, whether meditating, working, parenting, or dealing with challenges. There's no longer a division between your spiritual self and regular self. They've become one integrated whole. People in Stage 7 often feel like they're living from their soul rather than their personality. They've developed the ability to respond to life from a place of profound wisdom and compassion rather than reacting from old patterns and conditioning. This doesn't mean they never experience difficult emotions or challenging situations. It means they meet these experiences with greater equanimity and understanding. This stage is characterized by a natural flow between being and doing, solitude and service, inner work and outer expression. You've learned to trust your intuition and inner guidance while remaining grounded in practical reality. You can hold space for others' growth and healing without losing yourself. Many people in Stage 7 find themselves naturally drawn to some form of service or teaching, though this doesn't necessarily mean becoming a formal spiritual teacher. You might express your embodied awakening through parenting, creative work, business, healing arts, or simply by being conscious in your community. The embodiment stage is not a destination, but an ongoing process of deepening and refinement. You continue to grow, learn, and evolve, even in stage 7. The difference is that this growth happens from a place of stability and self-acceptance, rather than a sense of lack or seeking. Navigating your unique journey. While these 7 stages provide a helpful map for understanding the awakening process, it's important to remember that everyone's journey is unique. You might move through some stages quickly and spend years in others. You might revisit earlier stages as you integrate new levels of awareness. Some people experience the stages in a different order or find that multiple stages overlap. The key is not to judge where you are or try to rush to the next stage. Each phase has its gifts and lessons, and trying to skip ahead often means you'll have to return later to complete the work you tried to avoid. Trust that your soul knows exactly what it's doing and that you're unfolding at the perfect pace for your unique path. It's also important to remember that spiritual awakening isn't a one-time event. It's an ongoing process of evolution and expansion. Even after reaching stage 7, you continue to deepen your embodiment and discover new dimensions of consciousness. The journey never really ends. It just becomes more integrated and natural. Signs you're moving through the stages. Sure signs indicate you're moving in the right direction as you progress through these stages. You develop greater self-awareness and emotional intelligence. You become more compassionate and less judgmental, both towards yourself and others. You find yourself naturally drawn to authenticity and truth, even when uncomfortable. You begin to trust your intuition and inner guidance more than external authorities. You develop the ability to hold paradox and complexity without resolving everything into simple answers. You become more comfortable with uncertainty and mystery. Your relationships begin to reflect your inner growth. You attract people who support your authentic self and naturally distance yourself from those who don't. You learn to love without attachment and to serve without depleting yourself. Most importantly, you develop a deep sense of peace and acceptance about who you are and where you are in your journey. You stop trying to be someone else and start celebrating your unique path and gifts. Understanding your personal awakening journey is essential, but it's equally important to recognize that you're part of something much larger. The spiritual awakening happening on our planet right now is not just about individual transformation. It's about collective evolution. As more and more people move through these stages of awakening, we're creating a new paradigm for human consciousness. We're shifting from a world based on separation, competition, and fear to one based on connection, collaboration, and love. We're moving from a purely materialistic worldview to one that recognizes the spiritual dimensions of existence. Your awakening contributes to this collective shift. Whenever you choose love over fear, authenticity over conformity, or service over selfishness, you're helping to anchor new frequencies of consciousness on the planet. You're not just transforming yourself, you're helping to transform the world. As we conclude this exploration of the 7 stages of spiritual awakening, remember that wherever you are in this process, you're exactly where you need to be. If you're in the early stages, trust that the confusion and upheaval you're experiencing are necessary parts of your transformation. If you're in the middle stages, know that your challenges prepare you for greater wisdom and service. If you're in the later stages, embrace your role as a way shower for others just beginning their journey. Your spiritual awakening is not a luxury or a hobby. It's your soul's response to the evolutionary impulse that's moving through our species right now. You're not just becoming a better version of yourself. You're becoming a new kind of human being who can bridge the material and spiritual worlds and help create a more conscious, compassionate planet. The journey of awakening is not always easy, but it's always worth it. Every challenge you face, every breakthrough you experience, and every moment of integration bring you closer to living as your true self. And when you live as your true self, you inspire others to do the same, creating ripples of awakening that extend far beyond what you can imagine. Trust the process. Trust your journey. Trust that you have everything within you to navigate your stage and continue growing into the magnificent being you're meant to become. Which stage of spiritual awakening resonates most strongly with your current experience? Have you noticed yourself moving through these stages in your journey? What challenges are you facing now? And how might understanding these stages help you navigate them with greater ease and trust? Take a moment to reflect on your awakening journey so far. What patterns do you notice? What stages have been most challenging for you? What stages have brought the most growth and insight? How has your understanding of yourself and reality shifted as you move through this process? Share your experiences in the comments below. Your story might provide the encouragement and perspective someone else needs to continue their awakening journey. Remember, we're all in this together, supporting each other's growth and evolution. If this exploration of the 7 stages of spiritual awakening has helped you understand your journey better, subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss our deep dives into consciousness, spirituality, and personal transformation. Next week, we'll explore how to access your Akashic records, the cosmic library containing the complete history of your soul's journey across all lifetimes. You'll learn practical techniques for connecting with this infinite source of wisdom about your soul's purpose and evolution. Remember, your awakening is not a mistake, an accident, or a sign that something is wrong with you. It's your soul's natural response to the evolutionary impulse moving through our planet. You're not just transforming yourself, you're helping to transform the world. Trust the process. Embrace the journey. Know that you're exactly where you need to be, and that everything you're experiencing prepares you for the magnificent life you're meant to live. Until next time, may you walk in awareness of your awakening journey and trust in the perfect unfolding of your soul's evolution.